Hello and welcome everybody. Hopefully this is all working and you can hear me and see me now. So welcome to this post-video live stream. We're going to do this for a little while, maybe about an hour or so. And this will allow you the opportunity to ask some more questions about what you've just seen in the Axe from the Grave episode, making new guitar parts look like they are old guitar parts. So I'm going to give a couple of minutes here, let people just roll in who have been at that premiere, and you get thinking about your questions you want to ask me because I'm here to answer them right now. And if there's any issues with this stream at all, let me know about it, and I'll see if I can sort them out. Everything should be going smoothly. If you're a Patreon member, you'll be familiar with this sort of setup. You'll know how this goes. Although this time it's public, everyone can hear me, so I'm on my best behaviour. There will be no drinking and swearing and politics in this stream. We're just going to be talking completely about the video. That's all it's going to be. But if you do want to hear all that other stuff that I was just saying, CSGuitars Unchained, then please do consider signing up to Patreon. You're supporting the videos that I make here, and you'll get bonus content and monthly live streams. We're going to be doing one this Thursday. So if you do want to see me get drunk and be angry about stuff that's happening in the world, that's the place to do it. But this will be exclusively for the video. So I'm just going to look into your chat. We can hopefully see us all in the window here. Let's see what we're all saying. Oh, geez, we've got quite a lot of people in already. That's good. Thanks for jumping across, everyone. We can hear and see me, which is a positive. I'm just gonna read through this a little bit. Oh, also super chats are a thing. You don't have to, but if you want to, they're there. That gives me a lot of money, and it helps me see your questions. So it's there as an option. Gabriel, I can't even imagine an angry drunk Colin. Unfortunately, a lot of people can. A lot of people can. So, but if you do want to see it, Patreon's the way to do it. Let's see, where are we? Void's here. Good. Lucas is in. We've got Jeff. We've got James. We've got Christian, Albert. We've got lots of people. Hello from Canada, Albert. Nice to see you. It's just coming up to 5 p.m. here. What time are we all? Am I interrupting people's lunchtime? Is it late where you are? Let me know. So as we're filling in, how was that video? Did we all enjoy it? That's the first thing I want to ask. If we've come straight from that Axe from the Grave video that just premiered, let me know what you thought of it. Was it a good video? Do you think there could have been more to it? Has it left you with some unanswered questions? I'm hoping it has, because that's the whole point of this. But you can give me a general consensus on how you felt about that, and I'll start reading what you're saying. You're enhancing lunchtime, says Rob. Good to know. 9 a.m. Jeez, oh, it's early. It's early some places in the world. 9 a.m. in Seattle. 10:48 for Albert in Canada. Cool. Great to know. This is just an appropriate time for me to do these things. If it's too early for you, I do apologise. Yeah. Video was lovely, Lord of Soup says. JC missed the video. That's unfortunate, but it will be there. Premiere's obviously set there forever now, so you can go back and watch it any time. That's not a problem. Video was good. Straightforward a straightforward way to do aging. Yes, I thought so. I thought the process that I used was pretty straight ahead, no frills, but it gets the sort of desired look. It gets to where it needs to be, and it doesn't have to be necessarily perfect, I don't think, but I think with everything that's going on, perhaps it blends it all in. Was anyone fooled by the introduction of the video? I tried to do a little bit of a fake out there, a little bit of a misdirect, to make you think it was maybe the bridge and the tailpiece that were the new parts and not the pickups. I don't think I fooled anyone, but you can let me know if I did. I was just trying to lead people off the scent a little bit, because if people knew it was the pickups going in, our brains tend to work as, oh yes, I could clearly see that. I knew that all along. But if you didn't know that going in, maybe you'd have been a little, ooh, I'm not too sure. We're still getting different times coming in. Yeah, it seems to be early for many of you. Oh, late in Thailand though, of course. Over the other side of the planet. So we've got a good range of times. Got a good range of times. I'm glad we can all be here, despite that sort of gulf in time and of distance. Internet's a great thing. It really, really is. Val Dies asking, do I build guitars these days? No, it's not something I do anymore. I'm more set up to do the restoration kind of stuff. That's why you're seeing these Axe to the Grave episodes a bit more often. We get to do repairs and restorations and modifications, and that's all this series. Although if you do want to see some guitar building, the most recent guitar building I did was for the Great Guitar Build-Off competition, where I built the Guitarton, a very Scottish guitar with a whiskey barrel top and tartan elements. So if you missed that, there's a couple of videos all about that. Go and check those out if you want to see some guitar building in a space and with tools that's not very appropriate for guitar building. It's a great look, and I think you can still donate money to my charity if you want to do that, if you think it was good. I think that link's still active. Gonna catch up here. This chat's moving on a lot faster than I'm talking. For a moment I thought there was a countdown, was an intro to Axe from the Grave. Yes, YouTube's now letting me choose the different intros that we can have, the little countdowns, before a premiere. So we're now doing sort of a sci-fi robot thing. I thought it was pretty cool. So it makes it a little bit different to what other people are doing. Let's see. Where am I catching up here? Dude said a little bit earlier on, I relic a lot of hardware and thought it was the bridge and tailpiece. Well, there you go. That must mean I did a good job, if it wasn't apparently obvious. Let's see. I thought the pickups, tailpiece and bridge were all aged. I thought you'd done them all. All right. So that makes me feel good. It means that everything did look consistent, and that's a positive thing. I remember the pickups, as Gabriel, and I still thought it was the bridge and tailpiece. Yeah, there was a few. I've done a few videos about that Les Paul. You have seen the pickups before without the covers on them. These ones here, I've got them here. These are the Gibson. These are hot ceramic ones. They're modern pickups as compared to the sort of PAF style that I've put in there now. They were the only thing I felt letting the guitar down. It's the same pickups that's in my Flying V, and I think they work very well in the Flying V, but in the Les Paul, I thought they're just a bit too hot, a bit too modern. They're not really doing what I want from a Les Paul. So that was a good big part of why I wound new ones entirely. The Creech says, seems like it looks like an easy process, Yes, this relicing process is a very easy process. If you want to give it a go for yourself, really all it is a little bit of vinegar fume chamber, which just attacks the metal in a certain way, and then a little wipe of the ferric chloride on top of any little scratches and dings and dents you wanted to add to the covers, and it's a very easy way to do it. I polished them up. You don't have to polish them up. You can leave it with a slightly roughish finish. When I polished it up, there was a lot of black came off from the cloth, so there was some metal came off with the polishing. So, it does change how it looks, but it's all about trying to match what was there originally. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on all your chat. I am very bad at reading the chat and talking at the same time. I do apologise. Where did I get my pickup winder? Asks Leviathan. It's I got it from StewMac. It's one of the ones StewMac sells as a kit. It all comes in parts and you sort of put it together yourself. You can buy them pre-made, but it's not a difficult kit to put together. It's really not, and there's not much involved inside there. It's really quite simple. A winder. You can also look for sort of industrial winders. There's a lot of computerized and mechanical winders that they use for winding inductor coils and transformer coils and whatnot that you can use for pickups. That are a lot more advanced than that. You can probably pick them up. You can probably pick them up eBay and second hand and stuff from companies that might be closing down or getting rid of their old stuff. So there are other ways you can do it. You can also build hand cranked winders. You can do all that stuff. I used to wind in a hand crank winder. That's exhausting. I don't recommend it. I recommend, building something motorized. You can do it with an electric drill. You can do it with a motor. But yeah, if you want to look at StewMac, they've got a few winding options there. Let's see who else is asking. Are the Gibson ceramic pickups that you replaced in the beginning similar to the Dirty Fingers in terms of output? I think the bridge is sort of similar to the Dirty Fingers, because it's sitting around 14-15K. But I don't know how much the Dirty Fingers differs from these. These are the... I think it's the 500... because they've got numbers for them. I think it's the 500 for the bridge and the 496 for the neck position one. But they're both ceramic magnets, and they're both pretty hot for those kind of pickups. But I think the bridge unit is probably similar to a Dirty Fingers, but I'm not sure how those two units completely differ. What will I do with those, asks Rob. I don't know. I've got so many spare pickups now because I keep taking them out of guitars, winding one, putting my own ones in, with the intention of finally getting around to selling them. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in, wiring cards and stuff to fill in and sell pickups. I'm getting around to it. So that's a lot of the reason why I'm doing these pickup videos, is to hopefully at one point get to a stage where I'm able to sell them to you if you want to use them. So I'll keep you updated on when and if that happens. Although I've spent a lot of money on getting all that sort of stuff set up, so it will happen eventually. Once I iron out some shipping things and some money things and export stuff. Exporting things from the UK has got complicated recently, so I need to figure some stuff out. Have you thought about a DIY amp? Asked Christian. Yes, yes, I have. Especially if you're a Patreon member, you'll know that last year, sort of last summer, sort of May, June time last summer, I was building a Marshall Plexi from a kit. It's still sitting unfinished because I encountered an issue with instability and oscillation, which I haven't managed to pin down, and then I got busy with doing other videos again, and I had to put it aside for like a year, and I've not been able to go back to it yet, but hopefully go back to it soon, figure out what's causing the instability, fix the instability, and then I've got a cool Plexi style amplifier to deal with, and there'll be a lot of videos about that because there's a lot of things that I can finish up there. Talking about multiple inputs and vintage amps and get a treble booster, and we can talk about how a treble booster just is the best thing for a vintage style amplifier. All these videos I want to do just replies me getting that amplifier up and running. Love the video you did of the ASMR pickup winding. Could more videos like that be possible? Yeah, sure. There was because that video was very much supposed to be a sort of relaxing moment. And I did little parts, I think, went on Patreon and on the Discord perhaps, where it was just the sounds. I think that was maybe part of the guitar building stuff. I did some ASMR stuff for that as well, just hearing the sound of the tools. So if people do want to hear and see more relaxing, more chill videos where it's just maybe some background music or maybe just the sound of the tools, sound of the winder, all that sort of stuff, yeah, I'm totally open to doing that. I've got hours and hours of footage of pickups being wound at this point, so I could certainly put stuff like that together if people are interested. So yeah, let me know. Do we feel there's a market for selling pre-Relic pickups? Nudge wink. Rob, yes, I mean, there is a market, because a lot of what people want to do in replacement pickups is buy them for an old guitar, so that they've got a new pickup for an old guitar, but it still looks like it fits in. So all your big pickup manufacturers do that. They will have a upcharge for getting them looked aged. Bare Knuckle, for example, they'll do that, but they'll also go to the extremes and do like a really extreme aging where it's all like big chunks taken out the covers and stuff like that. I don't think I'd ever go that far, but certainly I could stick an upcharge on mine. This is an option to think about. But yes, I think there is a market there for that sort of thing, and it's very easy to achieve. Jeff says sell them. Yes, that is the intention. So I'm just seeing Rob, your other comment. Will you be offering? Yes. I think that answers that. Yes, I think I've got a big bottle of ferric chloride here, a massive bottle. I need to get through it. So yeah, I think if people want to pay a little extra for the time taken to scuff up the covers and do all that process, then yes, then yes, I will offer that within the lineup. Christian, yeah, send me an email about the amp and I'll tell you what the problem is. And maybe you can tell me where I'm going wrong. I like that breakdown of prices there. Actually, $8 for wire, 12. Sorry, bobbins $8, wire $12, branding $3,000. Yes, that's when people ask why are pedals so expensive or why are pickups so expensive when it's just it's technically just small amounts for the parts. A lot of it comes down to the R&D and the branding and the packaging and the marketing, and all of that stuff is where the money gets spent. Because at this point I've not sold a single pickup, but I've spent thousands of pounds on winding pickup and materials and testing out what works and what doesn't and what I like and what I don't like and my method to doing the thing. So there's a lot of money that's already been spent. There's a lot of money been spent on just, buying a logo, setting up the website, all of that sort of stuff, the packaging, figuring out all that. So it's time and it's effort just to get to a point where you can sell anything. So you're always paying for more than just the material cost. Will you relic the P90 Strat you built recently? Yes, that is the intention for this video. This was the precursor to essentially that. So my intention is to go to that P90 Strat and relic the whole thing, top to bottom, looking at, how to do a nitrocellulose finish, how to do hardware, how to do the plastic parts. The intention is to do the full thing, but I wanted to do this video first because it was much smaller scale, it was much easier to explain the process, and because it was taking a new part and making it look like it belonged on a guitar that was naturally old might just soften the blow for some of the people who really hate relics, who really hate that process, might soften the blow a little for them so that they're not... so people have got into their mindset what the artistry of it is before jumping into taking a really nice looking new guitar and fucking it up. So that's really what it is. It's this was an effort to just to introduce the concept as more of an art form, which it is, before jumping into the full guitar. But yeah, I will be doing that P90 Strat in its entirety at some point for an Axe from the Grave. What else have we got? What else are we saying? Do I still restore guitars? Yeah, I mean that's essentially what this video was. Although it's a change in the pickups and it's a modification. Had I to change any of those parts, were this a repair sort of situation? Perhaps the pickups were damaged, in this hypothetical. Then all of the skill set that I showed in this video is very much a restoration thing. Because if you've got to go in and change something. You want it to look like it's part of the guitar. One thing on that Les Paul that I haven't really shown yet is the tuning machines are new. When I bought it, someone had replaced them, and it's very obvious they've been replaced because the metal's all shiny and new, and the plastic keys are all very sharp and crisp, and they haven't worn in the same way that 20 years of turning them would have worn them. They're all too crisp and too new. So I need to address the tuning machines at some point as well. And I feel that that's all part of the restoration process. But if we're looking at more sort of like the very filthy guitar, Jack's guitar, the video from about a year ago, which is the greatest video this channel has ever had in terms of performance. Yeah, there will be more of that, taking dirty, broken stuff. I've got a guitar sitting through in the other room, which has been sitting there for a couple of years because I've not grown the confidence to tackle it yet. Where it was something I did over at Toman with Philippa Q, and we did how not to relic a guitar sort of video thing, and we just messed this guitar up in like the most hilarious, worst ways possible. Sitting there, and my intention is to go and use it for an Axe from the Grave and bring it back from a really bad condition. The body is in two separate pieces, and it's not supposed to be. So that video will be coming as soon as I can work up the courage to get to it. When working with ferric chloride, Ryan asks, did you need any PPE other than gloves? The gloves are an absolute essential. You don't want to be getting it on your hands. It will irritate your skin. It's an acid. And it will stain as well. It's that brown colour. It will stain anything it touches. So you want to make sure you're wearing gloves, protect your hands. You might want to seriously consider wearing some sort of eye protection, because you do not want to get the ferric chloride into your eyes. If it splashes or anything like that, you don't want it getting into your eyes. It can very seriously damage your eyes, so don't. If you're concerned about that, eye protection would be a good idea. Wear clothes that you're not worried about, old clothes, because it will stain. And just make sure you're cleaning up everything. If you're careful, you probably don't need any PPE aside the gloves. But I would advise the eyeglasses as well, and don't sniff it. Don't consume it. Don't ingest it in any way. Don't sniff it. You don't need a respirator or anything like that to deal with it, but just be sensible. Just be sensible when you're dealing with these things. Don't drink it. Don't put it in your eyes. Don't get it on your skin. Just best practices, general common sense stuff. What else we got here? What kind of tape do you use for attaching bobbins to the winder? Good question, actually. I've got it's like a foam tape, double-sided foam tape. It's the same foam tape that holds up the acoustic paneling on the back walls here. And I've got I use a piece of masking tape onto the metal spinning section. Hold on, I'm going to grab this so you can see what I'm talking about while. Where did I put it? There we go. So that's the winder right here. So it's a double-sided foam tape, and I've got a piece of masking tape underneath it so that it doesn't stick directly to the metal, because when it wears out, I can easily peel it back off. The masking tape comes right back off, whereas the foam tape sticks permanently to the metal, and getting it back off is an absolute nightmare. So that's my advice. Whenever you've got some sort of double-sided tape and you want to get it back off that surface at some point, put a layer of masking tape down first, then stick to it. So it's just a double-sided foam tape, and that works for me. Does the job. And just very carefully peel them back off again when you're done winding them. It's not difficult. You should do a video, says Keith, on relicing a poly finish. I've never seen a convincing relic on a poly finish outside of taking the entire clear coat off. Yeah, that's the problem with modern poly finishes, is that you can't. You just can't. They don't work in the same way as a nitrocellulose finish. They don't. Nitrocellulose is a very, very bad finish, to be clear, on this one. The reason that it ages in the way it does is because it's a terrible, terrible finish. It reacts to temperature changes, it reacts to moisture, it reacts to acidity of skin, it reacts, it yellows over time, it shrinks, constantly off-gases over its entire period. It's not a robust, long-lasting finish, and it's fairly thin as well. It'll wear away very easily with abrasion. Whereas your modern poly finishes are much thicker. They're essentially an indestructible plastic coating. They're designed not to scratch, not to dent, not to shrink, not to yellow, not to age, not to abrade in any way at all. They just do not react to anything. You have to go through significant damage to chip them, and then they will just chunk away in huge chunks. You can't realistically age a poly finish. It's impossible. Which is why, it's good if you want your guitar to continue looking new, and that's why they put the all-in-all guitars, because new guitars, people want them to look new. But if you want an old-looking guitar, you have to finish it in nitro. And that's really the only reason to use nitro, is if you want to then have it age, or to relic it convincingly. So it's just one of those things. The how not to relic a guitar that I was talking about, the Toman one with Philippa that we absolutely messed up, that is a cheap Harley Benton. It's a poly finish. It does not age properly, and that was part of the reason we chose it. We spoke to what's his name? Guy Thorne, the master builder at Fender. He was there, and we spoke through a process with him and showed him what all the tools that we had, and he was like, no, you've got everything you need. All the tools you have are correct for doing exactly this kind of relic work. It's the same stuff we use over at the Fender Custom Shop, but your finish is not going to work. And we're like, yeah, we know that. We're fully aware. So that's part of the point. So yeah, polyfinishes, it's an impossibility. Don't even try. Oh, I'm getting back on track with your comments. Sorry, I go off on a little journey. Let's see what we've been saying. I love how Colin is explaining common sense to people about how to handle acid. Look, common sense is in very short supply these days. It's worth pointing these things out. Dead Octopi, good name there. Killer Gold Top Classic, same model here, but almost 10 years younger. Interested to see its checking pattern similar to mine, left and right, when in playing position. My words are not coming out today. Yeah, I really like those classic gold tops. They look really nice, and the wear pattern on this, the way it's checked is kind of interesting. I don't know if this camera will pick it up at all. It's all on the control side, as opposed to the playing side, which is very strange. I think that comes from setting the guitar down, and it would always be angled towards this side. This is the edge it would be. The point would be. What are my words? This is the side it would be sat down on. It's also the side where you've got the jack. So it's possible that jack plugs, cable's plugged in there. It gets sat down in the cable. It shocks the whole thing, and we're getting more shock on this side than we are on this side, and that's why the checking is originating here more than here. That's my thought, is the fact that this side is receiving more impact more regularly, and that's why the finish is checking more there than it is here. I'm actually planning a video which is more like a CSI forensic investigation into the wear patterns on this guitar to try and figure out, see if I can fathom anything about the person who owned that guitar before me. See what I can find out about them just from the amount of wear and the type of playing condition they had when they left on that guitar. See if I can figure them out. See if I can figure out what clothes they wore and how they accessorized. It's a cool little idea for a video, and it's surprising how much you can figure out just by looking at about the wear patterns on a guitar. John H. Skeleton has been seeing me in the Drophy comments. Yes, I'm in the Drophy comments quite regularly because it's a damn good show. Those kids put on a good show. I do love my Drophy. Lucas asks, how long does it take to wind one bobbin? Probably not as long as you think. With that winder that I've got at high speed, now that I'm comfortable doing it, it doesn't take very long at all. I can go through, it's about 20 minutes to wind both bobbins for a humbucker or something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, I think I could wind a whole humbucker in about half an hour. That's just winding. Then you've got to do everything else on top of that. But just getting the coil onto the bobbin, you can do it. You can do it inside 10-15 minutes, depending on how much copper you're putting on there. Obviously, how fast you're doing the winder, how much tension you're putting on the wire. The more tension you put in the wire, it slows the winder down. But all of that comes into play in how you're winding it and how it'll eventually sound as a coil. So I have lots of footage of start to finish winding a coil, so I could go and chop it start to end, put it up as a Patreon bonus, and then you can watch in real time how long it takes to wind a bobbin. The most boring 20-minute video you've ever seen. But yeah, I can do that for you if you want. Let's see. Caleb says, how often do you choose a copper tape to copper cavities when you are in the pickup area? Only single coils or more often. So yeah, okay. So how often would I go up into the pickup cavities with the shielding? I feel it's more relevant for single coils because a humbucker will have the metal base plate, and if it's got the cover, then you've shielded the pickup. You've entirely encased it in metal. You've got that that Faraday interaction there. You've got the shield. You've got the cage on there, so it doesn't need to have shielding or further shielding in the cavity at that point. Whereas a single coil without a metal cover, without a metal backing plate, doesn't have that protection. So shielding the cavity all around, as far as you can all around it, will help to prevent EMI from reaching the pickup from at least those directions. It doesn't help any from the front. That's the reason why Stratocaster pickups were originally designed to have metal steel base plates on the back of them, was to try and give them a shielding point, to try and cut down on noise, but eventually costs, they were taken off completely and never manufactured. But the original patents for Strat coils had metal stuff on them. It's the reason why the original Telecasters, the neck pickup was entirely encased in a metal cover. It was a shielding thing. And the bridge pickup was all covered by the ashtray cover. It was all supposed to be to stop the EMI hitting the pickups. So yeah, it's far more important to shield the cavities of a single coil pickup than it is for humbuckers. It's good practice to do it anyway if you really want to be good about it. But in the case of like something like a PAF, especially with a cover, you've got the metal, it's all encased, and your cable's braided, which acts as a shield. So there's no, you've already got the shielding surrounding the pickup if it's a humbucker. So there's not as much necessity to do that. But I would still copper shield the cavity, because that's where you get single core wire. That's where you're getting all the stuff there that can still pick up EMI. So shield the control cavity, not as essential if you've got the humbuckers. That's my advice there. Let me see then. What else have we been saying? Lost track of what you're all saying. I'm sorry. I am very, very sorry. When did I get the guitar? Asked Gabriel. Seeing it for a while, I thought it was loaned or something. So the Les Paul, good question. When did I buy that? I bought that a few months ago. I think that was still this year. Sometime earlier this year is when I bought that. I was kind of on a little bit of what shall we say? Just a little bit of a vintage guitar hit. I was actually looking at a 70s gold top. With the brown panels on the back, and the pancake body. Really nice thing, but it was a lot more expensive, and it had a neck break and repaired. But it was a brake that had been repaired back in the 80s or something like that. So it'd been stable for a long, long time, and I was really, really considering buying it, but it was more than twice the price of what I eventually ended up paying for that gold top. So I was gonna do it, and then it sold the day that I was gonna pull the trigger. So I was saved. I was saved a few pennies there. And then I was deliberately trying to find another Les Paul gold top with the humbuckers that looked old. I wanted it to look worn and old, because that was part of the point of the whole thing. And I found this one. It was a 98 model, but it looks older considering how much wears on it. It's been really well played, and it was in immaculate condition, and it was as much as buying a new Les Paul. And I didn't have to give Gibson any money. So that's why I did it. And I've been very, very happy with it, especially now that I've changed the pickups. It's ideal for what I was wanting. Gives me a little bit of street cred as well, I think, owning an actual Gibson Les Paul, and it's proving very useful in what I'm doing. And I can make a lot of videos about aging and real age on guitars, and we're gonna see a bit more of it. It's really good. So yeah, earlier this year I think is when I bought it, and yeah, it has been showing up quite a bit because it's proving very, very useful in the creation of these videos. It's a tool. It does its job well. Lucas Scotsman rambles while winding a single bobbin. If you want it voiced over as well, I can do that. John Skelton's back on the Droppy chat. If Droppy asked if there was a video with them. I mean, that would be a dream come true, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. Just not in the right zeitgeist for that, I don't think. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say no to them. Paul Hudson asks, if I wanted to build my own parts caster, what tools would I need? Please do check out my parts caster build video from a few weeks ago if you haven't already. It should take you through the process quite succinctly. I hope you should be able to see exactly what you need and what you don't. That particular build of mine needs a few more tools than you likely would, because I was modifying the body, so I was using a router and I was using chisels and I was changing the shape of the wood there. But if you were to, if you weren't doing any of that, if you're just doing drop-in replacements, really all you should need, you'll need a soldering iron to wire things up. You would need screwdrivers to do, the different sizes of screws and different types of screws, probably some Allen wrenches as well. And just sort of general tools like that. There shouldn't need anything specialised for putting a parts caster together. The whole concept of a Stratocaster and Fender's mindset of guitars, where they were supposed to be very easily modular, so that players could replace necks or replace pick guards or replace any part they needed to replace when it got worn out very easily, without any specialist tools. So it's some screwdrivers, some Allen wrenches, a soldering iron. That's really it. That's really all you should need to put a parts caster together. Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you very much, Stuart. Let me just read what you've said here, and we can see it. Cracking job getting the live chat up. So what we got? So now Iron Brew is limited in Scotland. Any chance you'll be leading the sacking of York? I did say at the start of this I wasn't going to talk any sort of politics in this because it's very public and I'm on my best behaviour. But let's just say that I'm not happy that certain things are leading to a decline in Iron Brew, and those responsible should be held responsible. It's the worst. It's the worst thing that could happen, and those responsible should be held responsible for me not being able to get my Iron Brew. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the question. Sorry, I had to be so candid about that. I'm not gonna get into my real feelings here. Yes. So what we're saying, Darryl. Any tips for an electrical engineering student trying to survive? I don't know what to tell you, buddy. It's been a while since I was a student, and yeah, surviving is the word that sort of sums that up. You just gotta keep going, man. You just gotta keep going. When it comes to getting sort of jobs outside of that, if that's maybe what you're talking about, I struggled with that. I was physics. I had a physics masters in physics, and what I realised very quickly was that the universities had educated us enough that we could stay at the university, stay in the academic process as, postgrads and, PhDs and as researchers. They'd given us enough information to do that, but not necessarily enough information to go out into the real world and get jobs in places like laser manufacturing or things like that. So, I don't know how similar electronic engineering is to that. Hopefully they're training you better for real-world application of your studies, and you'll be able to pick up something not too difficultly. Although, you could do what I did when I got my electronics technician job, which was to talk in the interview far more about your hobbies and practical applications of the craft than your education. I got that job by putting on my CV that I repair guitar pedals and guitar amps, and that pulled me into the interview more than my degree did. And then when they confronted me with a cabinet full of electronics and live electricity, they were like, "Do you know what you're doing with this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. I can put my hands inside live electricity. I'm not worried." And they hired me based on that level of confidence from what I do here. So yeah, fake it till you make it. just go in with confidence and you'll be fine. Lookins asks, JIFET or MOSFET, which very much depends on the application. Depends what you're doing with them. They're both good for sort of different things. I will be doing a video on JIFETs and solid state technology very, very soon. I've got the Orange Super Crush opened up today because I was looking at what power amp chips it has, so I can talk very accurately about how they're working. So yes, I will be doing a video that talks about FETs and transistors and solid state, and I get to use some of my physics degree and talk about semiconductor physics, solid state electronics, and talk about it on an atomic level, and try not to get into too much quantum mechanics. So yeah, I'll be talking a lot about that very, very soon. Lucas is asking if there's no iron brew in Scotland, how the hell will I get some in France? Again, I'm not going to get into those situations, but you'll probably be better than we are. It's fine. It's not that much of an issue. It's not that much of an issue. I'm sure we'll get through it. We'll have enough CO2 to get us through. Be all right. Speaking of parts casters, thank you for doing the video on it. I've been waiting. I wanted to make one for years. Now I know what to do when I get paid. Well, John, you know what to do. Spend the money. I was using parts from allegory.co.uk, so I'll promote them again here in the video that just premiered. I was using their humbucker parts to wind those pickups. They do good stuff. So if you're in the UK, you can check them out. If you're elsewhere, I'm sure there's lots of other places that are equally as good who do nice parts, and you can pick up, or even just pick up, you know, broken guitars, go to pawn shops, find bits and pieces, and you can just Frankenstein it together. Whatever works for you and your budget. Yeah. Please, more quantum physics and CSGuitars videos. I would love to. I would love to do stuff just talking about wave-particle duality and Fermi energy levels and Pauli exclusion principle and all that stuff. It's fascinating. Ultraviolet catastrophe. All these things are so incredibly fascinating. We've talked about it on Patreon live streams quite a lot. I've recommended books that you should go and buy and read. We have talked about it before. When I find an appropriate reason to do so, I will. It just seems a bit too advanced for the majority of musicians to be talking about quantum mechanics. It's not really relevant in the majority of cases. It's just diving too deeply into everything that's happening. Oh, Henning's here. Hello, Henning. You've joined us in a post video live stream where you get to ask questions about what you saw in the video premiere, which I assume you weren't part of. Ooh, we're talking about relicing and aging, and I know you like a nice beat up looking old guitar. So, yeah, welcome. Thanks for being here. It's nice to see you. Lovely to see your nice username. Not your face, because I can't see you. Getting through your comments here. And more Barry. This Barry? Barry's here. He sits very close to me at all times, so that he's ready and available to jump into any and all live streams that may happen here in the future. So Barry will crop up every so often. I don't want to overuse him. He's a very popular character, and I don't want to overwork him. I don't want to make him. I don't want to stop the humor there. You know, it's funnier when you only see a little bit of him. Sneak him into backgrounds in certain places. So yeah, he will turn up. He's not gone away. He is around, but he's just gonna stay, you know, in the background for a little while until the relevant moment happens. Please marry me, Barry. Lucas, I know you're a big fan. I know you're a big fan of the bar. Big fan of the Barry. Justin asks, what happened to my long hair? What happened to it was I got sick of having it for 15 years, is the answer. And I just wanted something, just wanted a change. Just wanted a change after 15 years of having long hair. I got to the point where I was looking in the mirror and hating it more than loving it. And when it gets to that point, anything in your life, when you're hating it more than loving it, change. Don't put up with stuff that you don't like. Change, move on. Yeah, I need to do something with it. It's been a year since that's happened, almost. It was sort of October time I got the haircut, so yeah. I need to get another one. I need to get another haircut and stop like just doing it myself in the bathroom mirror. It's bad. It's bad. But I'm lazy. I'm lazy and I don't care. Because I look bad, and I'm just gonna stick with it. I don't really need to spend money on myself. Got plenty of guitars to spend money on. Rubber animals at the end, says Stonefish. Absolutely. Any interest in making a video taking a deep dive into using an oscilloscope to diagnose amps? You're working with a large amp, also oscilloscope. Can't speak. A large oscilloscope manufacturer. And answer questions. Cool. That's a very good resource to have. I've done a little Patreon video that talked about the oscilloscope a bit more, so that people could get an idea of what it was and why I was using it. But yeah, maybe I've not thought about doing it for amps just yet. But that's possibly a thing. And like, send me an email if you want to, talk about that further. I'm always happy to engage in that if you've got additional knowledge and resources that could be useful to me. So thank you very much. Yeah, send me an email about that and we can maybe connect. Henning, I've seen some pictures of you with hair. It was very handsome man. You're still a very handsome man, but you were especially handsome with your hair and your good looks when you were young. That's good. I do miss being around your place and seeing all that sort of stuff. Scotch, peat or no peat? Depends on what kind of day I'm having. I do like a peaty whiskey. I really, really do. I got the Lafroig there. Got a smoke head. Do like all that stuff. A bottle of Arran sherry cask though recently. Nice high percentage, nice bottle, and it's not peaty at all. It's just so smooth, and it's also just fantastic. So I don't really, I'm not one of the people who falls into one category or other. It's not like I'm only a peaty guy, but I like both. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no to a whiskey. Did I ever finish fixing the DoD chorus pedal? No, and the reason I didn't finish fixing that chorus pedal is because the problem with that pedal is the SAD chip that's in it. The Bucket Brigade chip is unobtainium and has been for some considerable time. It's long been discontinued as a component. You can occasionally find new old stock of them, but they're ridiculously expensive. And they're also notorious for failing. They weren't a very reliable chip, which is why the one in that unit is gone. So I could end up spending up almost £100 on a one IC, and then it fails very quickly, or there's no guarantee of it working in the first place. So that's kind of why I've been like, you know what, it's kind of not worth my time. Oh, Aggie Fish is here. Thanks for the Australian comment. Where am I from? It's such a mystery. I clearly haven't worn kilts enough on the channel yet. But thanks, hi, welcome. Thanks for being here. Antoine says, I discovered your channel last week. Love your very detailed explanations, and above all, love your Scottish accent. See, you know where I'm from. Hunter, get with the program. Yeah, thank you very much. You're new, which is great. I love seeing new people finding the channel. My big question is, where were you before? Why haven't you found me before now? No, I'm glad you're here. I'm very glad you're here now. Thank you very much. And you've got a lot of videos to go back through, if you're only coming across me right now. So, yeah. Hopefully you'll find lots of knowledge in the back catalogue. So, it's good to have you. And a lot more coming in the future, of course. Stuart asks, my early videos had guitars that I'd built. Has that stopped? Are you still building on the side? We talked about this question earlier in the stream, but yeah, I don't build guitars any longer. I'm more on the restoration side of things with the Axe from the Grave. Although, if you want to see the most recent guitar build, then it's the Guitarton for the Great Guitar Build-Off for a very, very Scottish guitar. With a whiskey barrel top and tartan elements. So that video is more recent guitar build, but that was a one-off. I'm not set up in my current living arrangement to be building guitars. It's not really something I'm doing right now. I'm doing pickups and I'm doing restorations of guitars. Building is something that's only for a special occasion now. Only for a special occasion, because it's a lot of hassle and a lot of cleaning up to do. I'm still picking up sawdust from in here. Hellborn Knight says this channel is so underrated. It's entertaining and you learn stuff here. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for the kind words. I try and make every video, at least in some part, educational. I consider myself more as an educator than as a guitarist. More of an educator than a gear channel. So, you know, there's a lot of people who do just straight up gear reviews, and that's great. There's a lot of people out there just doing that. I like to be a little bit different and make it more of an educational thing as opposed to just raw reviews and that sort of thing. So I'm glad you like it. I'm glad it's an appealing niche to be in. Here's a good question. I was wondering if you miss performing live. Yeah, some days. Some days I miss it, some days I don't. I do some work with a small rock festival here in Scotland called Wildfire. So if you're in Scotland and you want to check that out in the summer, Wildfire Festival, please do check us out. I do a lot of work there, sort of behind the scenes, and, you know, so I'm dealing with a lot of live bands and dealing with that situation, setting things up, making sure bands are where they need to be, and dealing with musicians and whatnot. And half the time when I'm dealing with those sort of things, I'm like, oh god, I wish I was back up on stage, you know, with the crowd. When you know, it's all going well, it's late at night, and everyone's jumping, everyone's having a great time. It's like, yeah, you do miss it, but then I get to see all of the other stuff in the background and all the politics of bands and all the you know, the business end of it, and I'm like, I don't miss that at all. I don't miss dealing with it. I think if I was to go back playing live, I wouldn't want to be the one who was also managing the band. I don't want to be the one who's also having to be responsible for everyone else. I would just like to be the musician who's getting lifted and laid, and just you know, having just enjoying the experience of playing, not actually having to, you know, manage the thing as well. So yeah, there's things I miss about it, and there's things I really don't. So it's a bit conflicted on what I would like to do live. Although it is a shame because I've got all of this wonderful equipment here that I should be using out on the road, and I'm not. It just sits here and never gets used to its full potential, which is a shame. Which is a shame. And what is my dream job is the end of that question as well. This, I guess, is my dream job. Most days, there's some days I'm like, I hate doing this as well. But no, making videos and being an educator and being able to put all this stuff out and make a living doing this is a fantastic job. It's thank you, all of you, so much who allow me to do that. From the brands and the sponsors, right down to the people who are on Patreon, the people who buy the t-shirts, the people who are, you know, donating and all the rest of it, super chats from earlier on. All of that allows me to do this as a job, and I get to wake up every day and just, you know, not be my own boss. It's great. So thank you all for that. This is a dream job. This is a dream job, and it's all thanks to you. So yeah, wouldn't change it. Got a lot of questions in here. Let's see. Is that Stuart asking for a collab between me and Aguifish? We were talking about doing something, and then it sort of fell apart because I was too busy with building the guitar at the time. But that's something I can maybe reopen in discussion, because that could be quite fun, and, you know, send him some pickups. Could well happen. Could be good. Miles is asking about rewiring an Epiphone Les Paul. I noticed the output at the bridge pickup seems to be lower than the neck pickup. Did you change the pickup heights at all while you were doing this? Because that's much more likely to be the culprit than a problem in wiring. There's a lot more questions here than I can sort of, you know, I'd have to troubleshoot this with questions back and forth. So what I would suggest you do is, if you jump across to the Discord, we've got channels in there specifically for asking these questions, and myself and a lot of other very knowledgeable people will be able to help you out. So if you do want to jump across to the CSGuitars Discord and start that discussion, we can try and troubleshoot that for you, and people will be really happy to help. So if you're not there already, get there and ask that question, and we'll help you out. A question here: where did you learn all of your electrical engineering? That, you know, did you go to college for it? Were you a trade in school? Wealth of knowledge is huge. Thank you very much. I have a master's degree in physics. That's my education. I did a 5 years physics course at university, Strathclyde. I specialised in plasma optics, firing laser pulses through underdense plasma, creating electron vacancy bubbles, and accelerating particles, creating betatron oscillations. I've done all that sort of stuff. So I've got this really, really strong background in physics. So I know a lot about electronics just from that. I also was, before going to university, when I was still in school, I had a big interest in robotics. So I was soldering circuit boards and making robotics projects way back then. So I got a lot of electronics knowledge just from learning about that. I have worked as an electronics technician for a hydraulics company who were doing smart control electronics. I was wiring up cabinets, control cabinets, pressure sensors, but all that sort of stuff. So I worked in electronics retail. I worked in a retail shop that was selling cables and power supplies and PC parts and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, a lot of this comes down to just having the background education on a very wide topic, and then just specializing into these particular electronics things. And I'm just fascinated by the technology of everything, and I will go and just research it. And having that physics foundation means that I can read technical stuff and understand it, whereas it would be sort of unapproachable for a lot of other people. So that's why I try to do these videos, is I read technical stuff for engineers and then communicate it back down for the average person, so it's not just incomprehensible gobbledygook. It's some sort of distilled experience that hopefully is understandable for people. I looked away from the chat and now it's all changed. Oh dear me, where was I? Flapjack's saying, going to try build a guitar from scratch. Have access to a CNC. Nice. That'll save you a lot of work. Is there a type of wood that is easier to work with than others? And as a database for schematics. So if you're looking for schematics in terms of like a CNC program, I don't know about that. I've not looked into that. There's plenty of places who sell templates that you can be printed out on paper and then stuck to a piece of wood and drawn on, for doing it the old-fashioned way. But I'm quite sure there's people doing, it's got some sort of CAD for like a CNC sort of program, whatever, for cutting out guitars. I'm sure that exists, but I just don't know where. I'm not knowledgeable in that. And in terms of wood, all wood can be worked. It depends on the density of the wood, how easy it will work, and what kind of bits and cutting tools you'll need to cut them. Denser wood's going to be harder to work with than less dense wood and all that sort of stuff. So it's really just about learning your materials. But you can make a guitar out of anything. I mean, you can make guitar. It doesn't have to be wood. You could make it out of metal, of stone. I've seen people make granite guitars. Again, it's just different tools required to do the same job. So I think just looking at the materials, look into what cutting implements you need to work with those tools, work with those materials, and you should be fine, Flapjack. Zachariah asks, is there such a thing as a noiseless P90? And the answer is yes, it's called a humbucker. Anything that's noiseless is technically a humbucker. There's really no such thing as a noiseless single coil. It's they're all humbuckers in disguise somehow. Whether that be by stacking two coils or the use of a dummy coil, you can do it. The reason you get noise is because the coil of wire acts as an antenna which picks up outside EMI radiation. So you get that all. It generates it. The electric field hits the antenna and it generates a signal. It's the same way as your television or radio aerial picks up the signal. It does exactly the same thing. And the way a humbucker works is to use two coils wound in reverse to each other to cancel out the noise, because each coil will pick up a reverse phase of the noise, and when combined together, two completely out of phase signals cancel completely. So in order to make a P90 noiseless, what you would want to do is have your standard P90 coil with the magnets in it, which will pick up the string vibrations and convert that into a signal. And then you'd have a separate coil with no magnets in it, which is wound in reverse to the coil in the P90, and when connected together in the proper way, you will cancel the noise, but you won't cancel the signal picked up from the strings. So yeah, you can make a noiseless P90, but it's technically a humbucker because you've got a second coil on there. And putting the second coil on changes how the single coil sounds. There's no way around about that. A noiseless coil will always sound a little bit different. There's no way to have that pure single coil sound without it being a pure single coil. You will always lose something in the process, just the way the universe works. What else have we got? I'm going to wrap up very soon. We've got another maybe 10 minutes on this stream, so I'm going to try and get a few more questions in. So if you've got a good question you want to ask, get it in now. Aggie Fish, shipping from Australia might be expensive. I'll cover shipping to send you some pickups, my buddy, my dude. Once I've got that all up and running, yeah, I'll cover the shipping on that. Don't worry about that. King Mel, another new person finding the videos just recently. Well, welcome. I'm glad you finally found me. There's a lot of videos for you to watch. Great persona for the videos. Oh, oh, lovely. Oh, the praise. I do like the praise. It swells the ego, doesn't it? Thank you very much. Much appreciated. It's all right. Just reading. Just try to catch up and see what the questions are here. Jason's asking about an Electra from the 80s. To your surprise, had metal casings for the pots. Yes, you'll sometimes see, like, old Gibsons and whatnot had like a metal plate that the things would go on. And these are all shielding options. These are all ways to shield the electronics, to try and prevent the EMI from interrupting them. So yeah, if there's some sort of weird metal casing over the potentiometers, that's what it's for. It's to try and shield them from any outside EMI. That's all it is. Another super chat from Stuart. Thank you. Just saying thanks again. Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll probably do more of these. I think this has gone well. I think everyone's been getting their questions answered. Hopefully, I'm trying to get around as many questions as I can here. So yeah, if this is a popular format, a post video live thing where we answer some questions and spend an hour. If this is a good thing, you want to see more of this, I'll do it more often. I'm happy to do that. And yeah, it gives a little bit more interaction. Hopefully you get some questions that I wouldn't normally be able to answer in videos. And don't forget, you can jump across to our Discord. The CSGuitars Discord is a great place to ask questions. I'm in there answering stuff occasionally. And there's lots of knowledgeable people in there who can also help out. So don't be afraid to jump across there and get involved in that. It's a really great situation to be in. You'll find the links in the descriptions to all the videos. So you can do that. But thank you. Thank you again. Really, really appreciate it. Let's get some final questions in here. Bob, what's my opinion on poly versus nitro finishes? We touched on this a little bit earlier on when we're talking about how you can't really relic a poly finish. Nitrocellulose is, by all accounts, a terrible finish. It doesn't do the job it's supposed to do, and that job is to protect the instrument. It wears in so many ways. It's unreal. But the thing is, it looks really, really good when it gets old. I love how old guitars look. I love how a nitrocellulose finish ages. It looks fantastic when it starts to shrink and crack, and the way it wears and the way it yellows. I love a nitro finish purely because it will get real nasty looking, and when it gets that thing, I think there's two ways a guitar can look really, really good, right? There's when it's brand new, right? When it's brand new, fresh out the box, there's not a scratch on it. That is like peak guitar look. And then you get the first scratch on it, the first dent on it, and it suddenly starts to look not so good. And then you're in that middle little section, that little uncanny valley where it's like, you've got a few scratches and it's looking a bit worn, but it doesn't look nice and vintage yet. And then you climb back up that hill to looking fantastic again when it's 20, 30 years down the line and it's been really played, it's been really hammered, and you've got parts of the finishes worn through, and that's when a nitro finish looks really, really good. So poly finishes, on the other hand, will always look brand new. They will never, ever age, and if you damage them, they damage in a really ugly way. So it depends what you're looking for. If you want a guitar that looks really nice and really new forever, poly finishes are the best. If you want a guitar that looks real old and looks like it's been on stage and it looks like all the rock stars of old, nitro finish. There's pros to both columns. I've got guitars that I like that still look brand new and I want them to continue looking brand new, and I've got the guitars in my collection where I want them to look older than they are. So both work in both situations. I can't make a decision on those because they're two different jobs for two different tasks, really. Zachariah's asking, do I sell pickups? We talked about this earlier as well. I'm gearing up to be in a situation where I can sell the pickups. I have the logo designed, I have the cards that will be filled in with all the information, I have the wiring sheets, I have the packaging, I have the stickers, I have a lot of stuff ready to go. I have models and spec sheets all planned out. There's the business end of things that still needs to be worked out, like, exports and shipping and things like that, which is the more boring side of it. But the answer to the question is yes, I plan to be selling pickups at some point, hopefully soon. I'll start with a soft open for a certain select group of people. So if you're one of the Patreon people, you're with the guinea pigs on it, if you want to get some. And then I'll open it up wider once all the teething issues are ironed out. But yeah, pickups are on the way. Ooh, interesting question from Paul. Are new electric guitars better than old electric guitars? If you want vintage tones, can't you get that on a new guitar? That is, I think, a really good question that might be a good video on its own. I'm trying to think of a very succinct way to put this right now. Modern guitars, it depends what you mean by a new guitar or an old guitar, because if there's this trend in modern guitars that it's going a certain way. So like new designed guitars. But you also can get a new guitar that's designed like an old guitar. And then you can get like genuinely old guitars that are old. Not everything that's old is good. There were a lot of old guitars that were just garbage. And we have got better at manufacturing things over the years. So from a manufacturing perspective, yeah, new stuff should be better. But technically better and technically more proficient doesn't necessarily give you the feel you want. There's this trend to go back to, like, the old gold foil pickups, which were cheap garbage, but they do a thing that modern pickups don't do. Or there's, I'm a big into sort of vintage stuff at the minute, and I do like things like the Orange AD30, which is a modern build of a vintage styled amp. That's cool, because that's going to be more reliable than a real vintage amp. But, there's certain old equipment that is good because it's old. And, like the gold top that was featured in the video is from the 90s. Gibson were doing really good guitars in the 90s. And in a lot of ways, maybe the best guitars I've ever done was that sort of era. So, yeah, I think I'm not really answering this question, am I? It's too convoluted. I think I'll need to really think about it and do a proper video about it. But there is an argument against being able to get vintage sounds from new equipment. Because it's not just about having the vintage equipment, it's about using the vintage equipment in the way that it would have been used. We use equipment in a very different way now than we did back in the sort of the 60s. So there's a whole big discussion topic on that. I'll maybe keep it for another time. Let's see, couple of last ones, and then we'll wrap up here for this evening or this morning or whenever it is for you. Let's see. Hank, hello, Hank Graham. The Shite Paul, one of the favourites from way back. Thanks for everything. No, thanks. It's good you've been watching since way back then. The Shite Paw was a funny little project. The Shite Paw is a great example of not all old guitars are good. That was a cheap copy, like Japanese copy guitar, which was just plywood, hollow plywood, and pickups that looked like humbuckers but were actually a single coil inside a humbucker enclosure. And the frets were spiky and sharp. It goes to show just how much better cheap guitars are now than they were back then in the sort of early 80s. Like, you're looking at a Harley Benton, you're looking at the Donner guitars, or you're looking at the Glary stuff, or any of these sort of cheap manufacturers now, the build quality on those instruments is in another universe than what it was a few decades ago. Like, people starting off today, new players on a budget, have way better stuff to choose from than even I would have done back then. Like Squier was the only thing doing decent guitars at the time, and even Squiers have got better since then. So yeah, the Shite Paw was a real eye opener for me early on at just how bad old guitars could be. Keith's asking, what pickups will I make? Is it just what's on the site right now, or are you introducing more? It's going to be mostly what's on the site right now. There's a couple of other models that I'll be adding to that. I don't think I've got P90s on the site at the minute. There's going to be some hotter stuff on there. The blade humbuckers that I did for the Guitarton build are going on there. So I've got a few different ideas that are not listed up there just yet, which will come online, and more as it goes on. So if they do well and I sell a few, then I'll add some more models. I've got a list as long as my arm of the pickups that I want to wind, but I'm just trying to keep it manageable at the start, so I'm not offering too much at the beginning. So yeah, there will be more added to what's on the site than what's on the site right now. Let's see. I'm stuck on your comments. Do I still have the Shite Paw and the Willet Shred Hurricane? Yes, I do have. They're in the cupboard. They're in the cupboard in pieces. I may revisit them at some point. May not revisit them at some point. It's kind of one of those things where it's been so long. Probably going to leave them where they are. Bring up the ghosts of the past. Don't really want to do it, but they're still there if I want to take another swing at them at some point. Completely possible to do so. 13's on a Les Paul, says Scott. Why not? If you like heavy gauge strings, I'm assuming you mean it's standard tuning. Because if you're tuning down low, 13s are fine. For getting like a full step down, step and a half. Probably still handle that. But if it's like it's standard tuning, yeah, why not? If you want, I mean, that's a lot of tension. But if you want that, sure. No, I think 13s for like a step and a half down is probably good. It's probably good. Keith's asking if I'm planning on doing Telecaster stuff. Not immediately. It's probably something I'll do further down the line. I'm not much of a Telecaster guy. I don't have a Telecaster. That's one of the parts. I would have to buy a Telecaster so I could wind some pickups and put them in and test them out and see how they sound. Because I don't want to wind pickups blind, and not know how they sound. So yeah, it's something I will plan to do, but further down the line. I think possibly bass pickups will come before tele pickups. We'll see. There's lots of people doing nice tele pickups though, so. Be fine. Let's just take a couple real quick. Ed saying what happened to the hair. I did answer this one earlier in the stream. I had long hair for 15 years and I got bored of it. That's really all it is. I got sick of looking how I looked and wanted to change it up. 15 years was long enough. I wanted a new identity. And as I said before, if you have something in your life which is making you sad more than it makes you happy, get rid of it. And that was the situation with the hair. And it's been a year. It's been a year now. So we should all be used to it. And what happened to the flute channel? Well, the flute channel was an April Fool's joke. It wasn't meant to continue. It was just supposed to be like a funny thing. So that's why. Although I still have the flute right here and all the other flutes. I've got some Irish whistles as well. I've got a bunch of different flutes. I do play occasionally when I can. Yes, I like the flute. It's fun. But I've got no intention of like continuing the channel. Besides maybe a couple of joke videos here and there. Yeah. Rockin' Movies with Tyler says enjoys the videos. Thank you very much. Thank you. Paul's asking, have I ever made my own pedals? Yeah. I have done so, but I'm not really that proficient in designing circuits. I'm good at understanding circuits. I can look at a circuit and look at a circuit diagram and know what's going on. I'm not so good at designing them. And there's lots of people out there doing it who know a lot more than me, so I'll leave it to them. I will leave it to their best judgment. But yeah, I have sort of made my own pedals before, dabbled in it. But I enjoy that less than I enjoy, winding pickups and that sort of thing. Do I have a tutorial on how to wind pickups? Not so much. I have a few videos about winding pickups on the channel, which will give you a lot of the information you need. So go and look up any of my pickup videos from the past. You will get a lot of information in there. But as far as like an actual step-by-step tutorial, a guide, no, I've not done that. But it's something I would consider for the long-awaited tutorial series that I plan to do as a premium content sort of thing. You can buy from the website. I'll do anything that's like that. It's not really fit for a YouTube platform where it's episodic tutorial style stuff. It's more fitting for you pay the money, you get the videos, and you can do it at your leisure. So I have plans for a lot of those. Pickup winding might be one of those. So not for a while, but it's something that's in the back of my head. Colin asks, says would love to see more bass stuff. Yeah, I would love to do more bass stuff. I'd love to get better at bass guitar. I'll see if there's any bass companies wanting to send me things. I will happily do more bass content. I do enjoy playing the bass guitar. It's good fun. So I would happily consider doing more of that. we'll maybe end on this one. It's a good question here. Would you rather fight a horse-sized Uveri or 3 Uveri-sized horses? I mean, I don't want to fight Uveri at all. Let's be clear. Because I don't want to damage the boy, not because I'm scared of him. Because I don't want to damage the boy. I mean, I would obviously win that fight. But when it came to a horse-sized Uveri, that sounds absolutely terrifying. I would not want to come up against a horse-sized Uveri. But then again, three Uveri-sized horses. Look, I love you, big horse. I'm going to go for the big horse-sized Uveri. That's what I'm going to do. I'm doing that. We'll go for the horse-sized Uveri. I'll take that on. All right, okay. I think that's cool. I think we've done over an hour of this. Thank you all very much for your questions. I'm sorry if I didn't get around to yours, but please do go across to the CSGuitars Discord. You can ask questions there. I and other members of the community can answer you back, and you can join in all that fun stuff. If you want to see more live streams like this, do consider signing up for Patreon. We do a monthly live stream there for the $5 tier and upwards. We're doing one of those on Thursday. Not quite sure what I'm doing for that one yet, but next month's will obviously be a Halloween thing. So if you like to see that sort of stuff, and you can see me a little bit more unchained than I am right now with a few drinks in me, then that's obviously that's something you can do. Sign up to the Patreon if you want to. And if you like this format, this live stream after the video, to answer some more questions about the video, please do leave me comments and everything. Let me know that, and if it's popular, we'll do more of this. I've really enjoyed doing it. I hope you've enjoyed being part of this. Thank you to the chat moderators. You've done a great job keeping everyone in check, and obviously sharing the links that I'm talking about. You've been great. So yeah, that's me. I'm going to close this out, and I'll catch up with you next time. Oh, and if you haven't seen the video that this was based on, You can go and check it out now. See you later, guys.